Hello there, it's Jan here from JB Crafts, and I am back with my very first tutorial for 2025. So first of all, Happy New Year to you guys. I did have a little bit of time off over Christmas to spend with the family, had a fabulous time over the holidays, into the new year, and absolutely itching to get back in the craft room. I haven't done any crafting for just over a week, and it has been calling to me, I must admit. Let me know if you guys were the same. So yeah, I'm actually a little bit late with today's post because this is for the sketch challenge that I've been running towards the end of last year. This is sketch number 6, and I do normally launch these on the 1st of the month wherever possible, but because of the break over Christmas, I did say on my last tutorial before the holidays that I would be back. So today, posting today, it's the 4th of January. And this is the sketch challenge for the month of January 2025. So if you're interested in any of these, if you go back, there are others at the beginning of each month. I think I started back in August with this. It's been very, very well received, and I know a lot of you like to join in. I love looking at your interpretations of this kind of thing. And if you haven't come across a sketch before, it is just simply a thought starter. It doesn't have to be followed to the letter. You may sit down and think, well, I'm not quite sure where to start today. I want to use such and such a thing, but what do I do with it? So these are a great way of just having that little bit of sort of idea as to where to go with your card design. They can be translated very easily into larger designs, smaller designs, different shapes. I've stuck with basic shapes for these so far, and today we're going to do a standard 6x6 design. And this is what I've come up with. These are my own sketches that I've created, and this is what I've come up with today. And again, I'm going to show you how I've interpreted this. It's pretty much to the letter, apart from there's a slightly different shape here. So we've got a 6x6 design. I've split it pretty much into quarters horizontally. So we've got 4 strips down the background there. I've used some embellishments just to keep it nice and simple. And then the focus on here, I've got a large sentiment with a sub-sentiment today, so that's going to be sort of quite focal on the card. So if I bring in what I've made with this, and I've kept it very straightforward, and I just thought this was a great time of year to start and create thank you notelets or cards. So yeah, if you've received gifts over the holiday period and you wanted to send out a thank you card to someone, really nice, simple one to do. And I'm going to show you how I've put this together. So I've got my 3 coloured layers and a white layer to create the 4 pieces in the background. I've got a large sentiment and a sub-sentiment, and then this was my interpretation of that little cluster of 3 items here. I've gone for a couple of background pieces in a silver, and then I've got my little dragonfly today. But again, could be absolutely anything. This could, you know, it could be a butterfly, it could be a more prominent piece. You could put the 3 circles if you just wanted the 3 circles. Could be a button in there, it could be a little rosette in there, it could be a flower in there. Again, as I say, lots and lots of different ways of interpreting these. And I love those of you that have been joining in. I love what you've done with them so far. You know, you may alter the colour scheme. I've used a little bit of glitter card in the back. You know, you may not have the glitter card. You might want to replace that with something else. And I must just mention the background noise. I do apologise if you can hear that. I'm not sure what's going off out back. It almost sounds as if they're somebody's cutting a tree down or something like that. And sporadically I keep hearing like a big still saw or something. So if you can hear that over the video, I am very sorry about that. It's not within my constraints today. Inside, very simple. You may not even want to pop anything inside here. If you want to write a thank you message, you may just want a matte layer in there, but I've just gone for thank you for your kindness, the world needs more like you. Really nice sentiment. And then you can write yourself a little note in there to the recipient just to say thank you for whatever. It doesn't have to be for a gift. You might just want to thank someone for their company over the holiday periods. Somebody may have done something for you over the holidays, you know, if you're celebrating by yourself. So yeah, lots and lots of different ways. So I've used my oxide inks on this one. and I'm going to bring those in a second. But you could very easily do this with strips of torn paper if you don't have access to the inks and the sprays. I've got a little bit of splatter going on in there with my distress spritz, which I'm going to show you, just to add a bit. You know that I love the shiny things, so that little bit of sort of glimmer in the background there. But like I say, if you don't have the inks, you could just get strips of paper and tear the edge, which I'm going to show you how to do in a second. So we've got a 6 by 6 inch. I like to make the sketches the true size. 6 by 6 inch card, and then I'll go through the layers on it as we move along. So I'm going to just keep that to one side, pop the card over to one side, and bring in the components. Very, very simple today. Just a bit of matting and layering, a shop bought 6 by 6 card, so it is a true 6 inch, this one. Sometimes if you buy them with the envelopes in, they come up at 5 3/4, but this one is actually a true 6 by 6 square. Still using up my stash. And then I've created a lovely glitter card, silver glitter card, layer to go underneath, to go on top of there, sorry. Come down a 1/4 of an inch to 5 1/2 inches, and we're going to pop that one on the top like so. And then I've got the piece that we're going to ink on, which is just a piece of smooth white cardstock, and this one is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then what I've done with this one is I've just marked down the edges here. If I just lift this up a little bit, at intervals, that's splitting it roughly into those 4 quadrants or 4 quarters. So just down the side here, my measurements, if you're wanting to follow them directly, I marked at 1 1/4 inches, 2 1/2, and 3 3/4. So I've got 1 1/4 inch segments all the way down my card, and that's what we're going to work on first. So I'm going to pop these two to one side for a second. I'm going to grab my craft mat here just to protect the surface on the desk. We'll leave that sketch in play, and then I'm going to bring in my inks. Now I chose a range of pink for this particular one, but you can do any colour. I did think about changing the colours up to do the demo, but I really like the pink and silver together. Any of you know me know that I love the pink for crafting, so I thought, no, we'll keep it as it is. I'd got all the things out with the brushes and everything, and I've just gone for a trio of my Distress Oxide inks, which you know are my favourite inks to use, and I've gone for a very pale Spun Sugar, Kitsch Flamingo, and Picked Raspberry, which are all three of a similar kind of pink, going through in a light, a medium, and a dark shade. So you can see here, if I pop them the other way around, we've got the Spun Sugar at the bottom, then it's gone faded up into the Kitsch Flamingo, and then the Picked Raspberry over the top. So that's what we're going to do first with the inking and get that cracking. So you can do this straight if you wish. You could use a line of masking tape, but what I did was actually use some of my scrap. This is just printer paper, and I'm going to tear along the edge here. So I'm just going to create like an uneven. I want it to be sort of a little bit lumpy and bumpy. It doesn't have to be perfect. All the way along here, just tearing off that top edge. So I'm deliberately sort of trying to go up and down with it like so, and we're going to use this as a mask to go across the bottom edge there. So however we want this to sit, I just want that one's, no, we'll work with it, and we're going to I'm going to use those little pencil marks as a guide here to work my way across. So we're going to start with the lightest ink, which was the Spun Sugar, and I'm going to pop that one in my little ink stand. I've got my brushes at the ready here. I'm going to use my ink brushes, and I've just got them in one of these little silicone holders there, just for use. They're just nice and easy instead of having them rolling about on the desk. And I'm going to start out with the lightest shade. So Spun Sugar first, and ink up my brush. And then just hold this in place. You can tape it down if you wish. And I'm going to bring this over that torn edge. Now again, it's a very, very pale colour, the Spun Sugar. So it's a case of adding and building up the layer. And I need to take it far enough up that I've covered that next pencil line. Doesn't have to go all the way up. We're gonna add the other colours on there, but I do want it to go high enough that when we bring the next colour in, it's going to overlap into this palish shade. So literally just building it up, adding enough ink until you've got the saturation of colour that you're happy with. And that bottom layer just wants to be really subtle. You can see just by adding the more ink, it's building up that depth of colour, that saturation, until you're happy with that layer. So we'll leave that one like so. So that's my lightest one. We'll pop that to one side, and then I'm going to bring in the second one, which is Kitsch Flamingo. And I'm going to move this up. You can see that beautiful torn edge now there. I'm going to move this up and just line it up roughly with that next set of pencil lines. It doesn't have to be exact. It's just giving me a guideline for splitting the cardstock into those thirds. So this one, we're going to do the same again. I'm going to come across the edge of the paper there. So that's slightly over the first colour where we started, just to blend the two together. And then again, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to take this colour just into the area on that top quarter that we created with the pencil marks. You can just see my pencil marks here. And again, add the colour until you've got the saturation that you're happy with. So this one's getting ready for re-inking. This one's a little bit drier than some of the others, so I need to invest. I don't have the re-inkers at the minute. It's something that I need to invest in, I think. The pinks get used a lot. They are one of my favourite colours to craft with, so I think they do take a little bit of a beating. So again, just bringing it up high enough that that next colour is going to dip into it there. And then once you're happy, they do smooth out slightly as they dry. So that's my second colour. So when we lift this away, we've got that lovely transition into the pale one there. And then I'm going to do the same again. I've got that top set of pencil marks there. And I'm just going to cover those, and we're going to bring in that strongest of the three colours, which was picked raspberry. And I've got a slightly darker blending brush for this one. Again, pick up the colour there and add this into that top section there. You can see that that one is a lot more saturated on the ink pad. And again, I'm going to cover the last section that we created. So this is that top quarter of the card now. And just again, keep adding until you're happy with that saturation point. So I want it all to be sort of fairly evenly blended. Like so. And then when we take away that piece for the reveal, we've got that lovely transition between the three colours there. Now then, it looks as if my my paper just slipped a fraction there. So all I'm going to do is just realign and blank that bit in so that it looks as if it's meant to be. There we go, like so. Okay, so that's my inks finished with. I'm going to move those bits out of the way now. I'm going to keep the paper for a second because I need to come back to that in a minute. We'll pop those over. Running out of space on the desk again. I had a tidy up after the Christmas period, but it's not at its best yet. I need to do a little bit more work on it. I'm just going to clean the mat there. Get rid of that excess ink. And then I'm going to swap this out for my splatter box now. Okay, and I'm going to put this in here, like so. And I want to add some of that lovely shimmery spritz to it. So again, if you don't have this, you could just flick the water on here and you'll get that lovely speckled background. But you can just see on this one, it's got that lovely bit of shimmer. Appeals to my inner magpie. So I have got some of the distress spritzers. Okay, so these are lovely. You can see the pigment in the bottom, just in a water base. So they do need, all these products need a really good shape. You can hear that little mixing bowl in the bottom. And that purpose of that is to get all that pigment off the bottom of the bottle there. So really, really good shake. The last thing you want to do is draw any of that pigment up the nozzle and clog the nozzle. So you should be able to see, if you've got any of these, the bottom of the bottle's clear now. There's no residue left on that bottom there. Okay, so all we're going to do, and I don't want the pink, I don't want this bit to go into the bottom. So what I'm going to do is cover the bottom. Look at roughly where we had the design there. Yep, like so. And I just want the bits to go on the top there. And I'm not actually going to spritz it as such. I'll get a much heavier coverage. I just want those little speckles. So all I'm going to do is take this out and basically tap it onto my card. So just giving it a little tap. I just want some nice splatters of that lovely shimmery ink there. And you can see why I covered the bottom, because I didn't want that to get into that white section underneath. So that bit's done its job now. I can move that out of the way, and then I'm just going to grab my heat tool. You can leave this to dry. It doesn't take long, but just for the purpose of the video, I am just going to blast it with the heat tool so that I can carry on with my stamping. So I've got some areas there I can clearly see are wet. So just very, very briefly, we're going to use the heat to help dry. And as I say, it doesn't take long. Because it's in a water-based suspension, it is literally just evaporating the water out of it. And then when it's dry, you can see it's starting to come to life now. We've got that beautiful shimmer going on here. I absolutely love it. I had some of these as part of my Christmas present to start topping up the colours. I love the Distress range. So yeah, my family bought me some of the crafty bits for Christmas. Let me know in the comments, did you have any new craft items? Just going to pop that on the back as well, just to help straighten the card out. But we are going to manipulate this, and it's going in the stamping platform. I think that's probably dry enough for what I need now. So we can move the box. That's done its job. Put that back over there. Oh dear, we're going to have a landslide. Stay there. That's it. And then I'm just going to manipulate that card back into shape there. And we've got our sort of beginnings of that topper for our card. Okay, so as far as our sketch is concerned, we've now created these bands across the background and leaving that bottom section white. So the next thing I'm going to do is pop this in my stamping platform. So I'm going to bring this up and we're going to look at the greeting now. So what I want to do is pop this in here. I'm going to pop it in the bottom corner, which is usually my preferred position, and get the magnet on there. And then I've used a couple of stamp sets, again out of my stash. I've had these a while. This one is a Crafter's Companion set called Thank You, and it's just got lots of different thank yous on it in different fonts and scripts. So you can just see the size of these here. Big A5 one, and I'm going to use this particular one here. I've got this out. You can see the thank and the you. Okay. So we're going to pop those in position, and I want this to be the bulk of the focal point here. So I've got my stamps out here, and I'm going to overlap. I want to go in the black, in the white, and up into the pink as well. And then I've got my U, so we're going to do thank you across here like so. Just see if I can get this running sort of similar. They are sort of a wobbly font, so it doesn't matter if it's not perfectly straight. And then I've used my little mini sentiments here. Love these. Lots and lots of different ones going on in here. And I just chose one that said, "For your kindness." And I'm going to nestle that in the bottom here like so. Okay, now they are different depths. I found this out when I was stamping. The thank you are photopolymer stamps, which are usually a little bit more chunky than a little acrylic silicone stamp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there for position, But I'm going to ink with my black VersaFine Clair here, and I'm going to do the thank you part first. Get a nice inky coverage on that one. Close that down and give it some pressure there. Not too much, because I don't want to distort the lettering, but I do want that to make contact with the card and go over that ink. I'm quite happy with that one there. And then what I will do is just give that one a quick clean. And I mean quick, it is literally just a go over with the cloth. And then I'm going to move that one out of the way. Okay, I'm going to pop that one up there out of the way so that we can concentrate. Knowing that this is in the right position, I can now ink that one up. And again, very, very light pressure with the little silicone stamps. Otherwise it does distort them. So I'm just going to close that door and very, very gently just apply some pressure until you're happy with that. Okay, so that's going to be my sentiments there. Leave that one there for now, and I can sort those out later. So we've got that all into play. Now, it is a pigment ink, so I need to be careful not to catch that black ink for a second. So I'm just going to leave that to dry. While I'm waiting on that, I can just see in the edges a couple of the little pencil marks, particularly on that lighter colour. So I'm just going to use the eraser and take those away. I can see that one at the top there. That's it. And then I'm just going to leave that one to dry till that pigment ink's dried there, while we have a look at the embellishments. So you can see this is how we've got so far. I've got my main sentiment and my sub-sentiment. I've got the panels in the back. We just need to address the 3 points here for the embellishments. And all I've done for that is I've used my little wobbly circles. You've seen these before. I love these. And I've used this. There's a set of 3 of these. These are the 2 smaller ones. And then I went with the dragonfly this time. I tend to reach for the butterflies a lot. And I thought, no, we'll do the dragonfly. And this is from a Crafter's Companion set that they brought out for the Gemini Mini. And they're all very small embellishment dies that are great for the top sections of your cards. So this one's just simply called Dragonfly. And I've cut that one. And I've cut my circles ready. I use silver for the circles, just to link in with that lovely silver glitter card. And we're going to pop these on like so to do the 2 large ones. And then I've gone for this spot here. I've gone for the dragonfly. So what I've done is I've cut him a couple of times. You can see him there. And I've gone for sort of a piece of scrap card that was similar to the dark pink in the ink. And then this top section was a piece of scrap card that I spritzed with the Distress Spritz. So I've got a little bit of, it doesn't show up awfully well, but it is a little bit shimmery. You can just see that catching the light. It's very dull in here today. And then I've stuck these 2 together just on the body so that I can lift the wings up, and then inserted the body section back in from the pink pieces, and he's going to go in the middle. And I just want to keep it nice and simple today. I didn't want anything too fancy. I just wanted to sort of create something that you can maybe batch make, you know, if you've got thank yous to send out, and keep it really, really simple. So keeping with that silver and pink theme. We're going to get those popped down in a second. I think I'm going to adhere the panel to the card first. It should be dry enough now. So pop that to one side. I'm going to bring these panels back in here. I'm going to pop this one together with this one. And because I'm going on to glitter card, I'm going to use my acrylic glue. Just because the solvent glue can damage any coated cardstock if it seeps out of the edge. So I'm just going with the PVA, which is an acrylic glue, and this will soak into that glitter card and help with the adhesion process there. I think I need a refill in that one. So this is just going to go nicely in the middle of the silver and leave a nice little border all the way around. Make sure that one's nice and straight. And then once I'm happy, I'm going to use a piece of scrap to give some pressure, because I don't want to risk smudging anything, but I do need some pressure to get that glue to soak into the glitter card there. So I'm still sort of avoiding that sentiment where I can, just in case it's not completely dry. And that's our top section. And then I'm going to flip to my usual glue now, because I'm going to go cardstock to cardstock. I'm going to bring in my all-purpose glue. Usually my go-to if I'm sticking card to card. So just make sure that that's not skinned over there. And then we're going to pop that on the back. If you prefer to use your tape runners or your double-sided tape, absolutely fine. And then I'm going to keep this as a side opener today, so like the book fold, and just centre that nicely. And again, I've just got slightly offset borders, so the white border slightly wider than the silver. Give that a press into place. And that is the bulk of it done. You could stop there. You know, this actually looks really nice without the embellishments. If you just wanted something really quick and simple, as I say, if you haven't got the inks, you can use paper and just tear the edges of the paper. You might want to just stop there and leave it nice and simple. These would look really nice done as a set, maybe 3 or 4 of them in different colours, and pop them in a little box as a gift. You know, if for anybody else that would want to do thank you cards, you may want to do them slightly smaller. You could incorporate it into a smaller design. But I am going to pop my embellishments on because we've got them ready. Okay, so I am going to pop the larger circle on first, and I just want that embellishment glue again. And I'm just going to pop this in significant places where the die has got the space. And then we're going to pop this one around here. And then just use that wax paper to apply a bit of pressure there and get that one in place. And then I'm going to do the same with the smaller one. And again, I'm just going to put the glue in those areas that have got a slightly more card behind it, rather than trying to get it on the tiny little bits. And then we're going to go for just offset, so that the takes me back to my school days. This thing looks like one of the graphs that we used to do. There we go. So that one's going to go there. And then finally we're just going to pop our dragonfly to create that third element here. So this is going to represent that third circle. You may want something else circular there. You might want a button in there, or as I say, it could be a flower, absolutely anything, but I'm just going to pop him across the top there. So I actually used a little bit of red line tape on the back to hold the body parts in place. So I'm going to utilise that and take the liner off there. But I am going to add a little bit of acrylic glue as well, just on those edges, to make sure that everything is stuck in place there. And I'm just going to lay him at an angle across where these join here, like so. And then just apply a bit of pressure on there, because it's going over the die cuts. Make sure that that one's set. And then once that glue's grabbed, we can just give those little wings a bit of a lift. And we've got the bulk of our card going on there. So as I say, nice and straightforward today, nothing too fancy. I just wanted something that you could put together quickly if you wanted to. You can see that sketch going on there. So we've got our 4 sets of spacers with the colour and the white one. We've got our large focal sentiment and a sub-sentiment, and then we've got our trio of 3 embellishments. So really straightforward, little bit of shimmer in there just for the magpie in me. And then again on the finished sample, the only thing that I added was the silver pearls there. So I've just gone on across the sentiment, as always, 5 of them, just to draw your eye across and link it all together. And a very simple sentiment inside. Done the sentiment ahead of time today. It was just nice and straightforward. I've just inked the edge with the pink, stamped the sentiment, and then just added a couple of little embellishments in there to finish it off and tie it in with the colour at the front. So that's my sketch for today. This is January 2025. The next sketch challenge, and if you do want to join in, and I know some of you like to have a go at these and do your own variation, which is what it's all about, you can find me on Facebook at JB Crafts, and I know I will put a post on for this one as it goes live, and you can upload your samples, your photos underneath the post, which a lot of you do, and I do try my best to make sure that I get in there and comment on them when I see them. So I hope you've enjoyed this one today. If you have, consider giving it a thumbs up for me. If you've just found the channel today, please consider subscribing. It does make such a difference. And I'll be back very soon with another tutorial for you. So for now, again, Happy New Year to everyone, and I'll be back very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day now. Bye-bye.